before we begin, we do have a very important guest speakers today. We have Ty and Brina, who are here to talk about Amazon Student Prime and sort of the collaboration we're working with them. So if Brina, you would like to share your screen so that everyone can see what Amazon Student Prime has to offer.
Okay, so hi, my name is Brina. I'm going to be talking about Amazon Prime students. I am a Amazon Prime campus manager this semester, as well as Ty. He's also in the call. And before I start, we're currently having a giveaway, and at this moment we have a projector, and later on we're gonna have the Amazon Prime gift card as well. So y'all can go ahead and scan the QR code and be entered in the giveaway, and there will be more future giveaways coming up. So go ahead and scan it, or you can screenshot it and scan it later. And then on to the next slide, a little bit about Amazon Prime. So about Amazon Prime, what's great is, especially for students that are looking to save money, we have the Prime delivery, so you can order something, get free same-day shipping. What's also great is like the textbook store, so if you're looking to save money on textbooks, you can also go there. I usually like to get the ebook and like read the book on my iPad. And Prime Gaming, so if you all really like games, and you can also sign up for their Prime channel subscription. And since this is a game developing club, I want to show y'all the gaming tab. So you can claim different kinds of items with Prime. So for me, I like to play League. So as you can see, I claimed one of the skin shards, and then it tells you the upcoming dates. So that's a little bit about Prime Gaming. And let me go back to my presentation. And yeah, that's a little bit about Prime and about us and our collaboration. And you will see us again for the mascot competition as well. And yeah, that's about it. If y'all haven't signed up for the code, it's right there. You can follow Ty or me on Instagram, and if you have any questions, you can also email us. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brina. So we are going to jump into our presentations. This is the most exciting part. So welcome to the third journal meeting for the CPP Game Development Club. Today we are going to talk about our game pitches. So obviously, everyone can see my screen, right? I can't really check because I don't have dual monitors right now or anything. Everyone see it okay?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So before we talk about our game pitches, however, I still got to talk about Club Merch real quick. This is just super duper fast. I'll get through it real quick. It's the final call for our shirt interest form. If you guys are interested in buying the club shirt for the year, go ahead and fill up that interest form. We will be ordering the shirts this week. They should come in about 3 to 4 weeks, and you could pick them up over at the club room. We also have a very special announcement at the very end of this meeting that hopefully we can get to. But yeah, again, it's $20 per shirt. Also, if you're a VIP member, you get this shirt for free. We will send a link to this interest form. It's also in the announcements if you scroll up a little bit. If you're interested in becoming a member or buying any of our merch, go ahead and Venmo me or Enzo, our treasurer, at Sammy Mac for me. And then for Enzo, it's going to be Lorenzo Cabrera 4. Label your payment as your full name and what you're paying for. That way we can take into account who's paying and exactly what you're paying for. All right. Again, super duper quick. We already went through this last meeting, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much because let's get into the game pitches. So very, very quick. Our very first game pitch is going to be Jonah's. So Jonah, if you would like to share your screen and talk to people about your game pitch.
Can everyone see my presentation, the title?
We can see it.
Okay, so this pitch is an engine for my from Lawrence, me and Lawrence's last game pitch, and we basically designed it as an FPS was randomly generated, but it was a linear room layout. Had random enemies, weapons, and items would spawn in each room, and we had only half a semester to develop this game. And I was going to show you the trailer, but we already seen it in a previous meeting. So hang on. Okay. So my first idea I want to add is a humanoid character model. I'm not asking for something realistic or detailed like a human character in The Witcher 3. I'm just looking for a standard human model. Like you can look at it and it can look blocky, but it can still appear as a human. And I'm also looking for basic animations that you would expect in a first person shooter, like walk or run cycles, melee attack, weapon holding. I don't know about reloading or weapon switching. We're just gonna see how far we get. And I'm interested in character designs for a prison themed area. We'll see. We'll get there to the prison theme later. And if you know how to do Blender, I would probably suggest learn about armatures and UV texturing. I will provide you tutorials, and I think you can get into it if you're familiar with Blender. And then we have enemy models. I did a few drones and a turret over the summer, and I'm also interested in adding a humanoid enemy model if we finish our human model. And some ideas are a prisoner, a security officer, or a warden. But if there's more ideas you want to suggest, feel free. An expanded arsenal. Besides enemy models, I've also made it a lot of weapons that I'm willing to add. And other than guns, I want to add more items for the sandbox, like ammunition item and some other suggestions. And also, some of the pickups are not that responsive with our player model, and I think they need to be fixed or rebalanced. Anyway, the level design is basically an arena dungeon room layout. It was big, it was expansive, it had some good verticality, and the thing that I had issues with is that doors were usually one way and there was only one door per room. So backtracking was not possible. And so I'm trying to work on a procedural level generator map design. We can still use some of these rooms, but we're trying to make it a little more explorative. And I'm also interested in adding more dynamics to the rooms. Like there's an ammunition refill station, which you can refill your ammo in the guns. I'm interested in adding a level hazard, which could hurt you, but it would also respawn you back into the map. And I'm also interested in adding treasure slash enemy locations and fixed positions of the room. And lastly, I'm going to talk about this prison and key system. Your your character is apparently located in a prison, and he is trying to get out. And one of the mechanics enemies can happen is that enemies can drop a key off enemy, and you can spend a key a one-time use on either freeing a prisoner or a cage that can give you items, or you can use a key to open locked doors that might help you go to a different room, whether it benefits you or it doesn't. And some enemies might drop the master key, which is basically a key except it never breaks. Normal keys, however, they're one-time use. And the focus of this mechanic is to create an emphasized version of exploration in our levels. And then there's the user interface. I'm not really trying to ask for much. I'm just asking for text to appear when something happens. It's very simple. And so yeah, my goals for this project are just to make a humanoid character model, add the enemies, redesign the level or refine it, and add the prisoner slash key system. And then my secondary goals is just to polish the bugs, add the weapons and items, fix the UI, and your ideas can also be suggested, and maybe they might be my primary goals. And so I'm interested in finding 2 to 3 deep modelers with some experience, not a whole lot in animation or amateurs. And I'm looking for some programmers who are familiar with C Sharp. And I'm also interested in a texture artist which can help with the level design and the character models. And more are welcome to join. And basically, you're gonna want to study Unity, Blender, familiar with GitHub and Google Drive, and I will provide you with as many tutorials that are fitting. And that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Jonah. This is my game pitch. This is actually my very first time doing a game pitch. Super excited, but kind of nervous at the same time. Before we get started, let me just ask you guys a few questions before we begin, so that you guys get a good feel for my game pitch. So, are you tired of boring, drag visual novels that just drag on and on? Do you hate long, unmeaningful dialogue or choices that don't even matter? Do you wish the story and the characters were just a little bit more engaging? And of course, the most important question, do you guys want to fall in love? Well, my game is the game for you. So, the title of my game so far is just called Not So Generic Dating Simulator. It's a work in progress. I haven't exactly figured out, the specifics about the dating simulator. All I know is I want to make a dating simulator that's different from all of the really boring ones that are out there. And there are boring ones. Any of you guys who are like avid visual novel fans or dating simulator fans know that there are very boring dating simulators out there. So, yeah. So, like, hi again, it's me. I'm your club president. I'm here today because I am sick of lackluster dating simulators. So let me just show you some inspirations I have for my dating sim. So I'm really leaning towards dating sims that lean towards like the funny side, like really funny sort of satirical dating sims. So some really good ones is like Hatoful Boyfriend, which is you date birds. There's another one called Jurassic Heart where you date dinosaurs. A very famous one, Monster Prom and Monster Camp, where you date monsters. There's also, in terms of like the really funny, really campy dating simulators, there's I Love You, Colonel Sanders, which is the one where you date the KFC mascot. And then obviously there's Huni Pop, which is a really funny slash satirical dating sim with quote unquote interesting gameplay and nothing else. Please trust me, do not look it up. So just some pictures for reference. So Hatoful Boyfriend, there you go, date some birds, Jurassic Heart, Monster Prom, Monster Camp, you date some really cool monsters. They're anthropomorphized and they're really cool. I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a really funny, really campy, really takes influence from a lot of famous anime pop culture. I couldn't find a picture for Hoonie Pop, but trust me, this game is very, very appropriate. I wouldn't joke about that. I couldn't find a picture for it for some reason, Anyway, so what should the game look like? So again, like I was saying earlier, I couldn't really think of the specifics so far. So, I don't know, to be honest. Which is why I'm honestly asking you guys for some help. So maybe we could do mythical creatures like mermaids or vampires. We could do fruits or vegetables if we want to like anthropomorphize them. We could do buildings, same thing, just like make like personify them or anything. Or we could do like anthropomorphs, like animals and things like that. I did draw some sketches of like some ideas if it like jogs any inspiration from you guys. Yeah, I mean we could just like draw anything really. So here's an example. So we have like mermaid people. We could do really hyper realistic fruit with like hyper realistic faces on them. We could personify the CLA building if we really want to, or we could draw for anthropomorphs. But yeah, those are my again, this is very loose, very fun based dating sim. So yeah. So, what am I looking for in this game? So, in my MVP, I hopefully want to have four characters of various gender identities. So, male, female, non binary. Ideally, they would all be dateable, but if not, I want at least two of them to be. So, always, I'm kind of tired of like games where you can only date like one specific gender. Like, most of the time it's female. And I understand that, like, a lot of dating simulators like cater towards male audiences, but I want to be more open than that. I want to cater to all sorts of audience with all sorts of, gender identities and all sorts of like sexual interests and things like that. I want two endings, a good ending and a bad ending. They could be relatively simple, but hopefully if we have enough time we can make them a bit more complex. I want basic expressions like happy, sad, and angry, but I don't want their faces to change. I know in a lot of like really basic dating simulators, they just change the face and the pose stays the same. It doesn't make any sense. Like they're angry, but they're like holding a peace sign. It doesn't make any sense. So I would like to have different poses. Of course, it's up to again our timing. If we don't have enough time to do poses, that's perfectly fine as long as you get the emotions and the expressions. I possibly want 3 to 5 dates or interactions. So basically, like a beginner date, then like an intermediate, then like the final date, which would lead to the ending. And we could have like 5 of those. Again, that's however many we can do is definitely based on what how much time we have. And it's the interactions with the characters are for the dateable characters. Finally, I want some basic menus and UI, and I would definitely love some sound effects and music for a game to just give it that extra oomph. If we have a lot of time, like I said earlier, I would love to have more dateable characters, different kinds of characters. I'd love to have different types of endings. I love games that have a lot of different types of endings because that means there's more choices. So like a neutral ending, a true end, etc. I would like to do CGs for dates. Like a common staple for visual novels is to have like those really good high quality CGs. So I would love to make some for that. Voice acting, I love it. I love it when visual novels have voice acting in them, even if it's like really simple, like only a couple of lines, like or like even just like their shocked expressions, like those shocked anime gasps or whatever. Like even something as simple as that makes it like just so much better. I would love to have gameplay that isn't just like branching dialogue. That's kind of like Hunipop, but not in that way, not in a specific way that Hunipop is. But you know how like Hunipop kind of adds that like Candy Crush aspect of like the gameplay, which makes it like different from normal dating simulators. I would love to have that kind of content too. But again, it's all up to our time constraints. And finally, I would love to have character customization for the player. I understand, you know, sometimes visual novels have really generic if you've played visual novels or dating sims, you know the generic character who you can't see their face or their face is always like cut off perfectly in the CGs and everything. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of it. I want to see you want to if you want to self insert characterize. I want you to customize a character. So again, this is only if we have time. So the main focus is just on like the MVPs that I stated before. So some info about the game. This is going to be coded in Ren'Py. If anyone's familiar, it's a very famous game engine for coding dating simulators. Some of the most famous ones is Catvalon Shoujo. That one's super good. Dating sim that was made using Ren'Py, and of course, Doki Doki Literature Club was actually coded in Ren'Py, and everybody knows Doki Doki Literature Club. Its language is Python based, which is relatively easy for those who are new to programming. It's also like really easy for those to understand, for people to understand if you're not into programming and you're just interested in using the engine. I'm also curious to use Twine, which is Twine is basically just used to better visualize like branching storylines and paths, and it's we're mostly going to use it just to lay out the story. On the screenshot on the side is actually the Twine project that I made for the game development class. If you take the one with Somerville, he teaches you about Twine, and that's the one that I made right there. As you can see, there's a lot of different branching paths, and that's just sort of how we're going to visualize the project. So who am I looking for to help me with this game? I want you for the dating sim. Really, I want anyone. So this game is open to anyone who has a passion for dating sims, especially if you want to make one that's different from the generic ones out there. Beginners are especially welcome. This is a super duper beginner friendly project because the language is really easy to understand, and it's also like a really good place to start for anyone who's new to game development. And I also highly encourage like artists, writers, and musicians to join because this is a very like a sort of creative based game. So yeah, so some resources, rempy.org and Twinery, that shows you all of the documentation and like the downloads for the game engine and everything. And if you guys join my team, I'll give you more info and documentation, and just to help you out because I need to learn. I need to learn this too. So we're all learning together. And that's all I have. Thank you. All right, all right. All right. Next up, we have the team for musical elements. If you guys, the team leads for musical elements, would like to share their screen, whoever it is, to go ahead and
Okay, so this is going to be our pitch for the musical elements. It's a bullet hell rhythm game, mashup of the two. So the basic idea is it's a boss rush game, twin stick shooter, where all of the bosses are going to be fighting along with the beat of the music. And since this central idea is based on elements like fire, water, electric, that sort of thing, like think of like Pokemon elemental types and stuff. That's where you're going to be reflecting their own attacks back on them and using their own element against them, and try to take advantage of their weaknesses in order to beat them. So this is just an example of what it might look like, where the bosses are shooting tons of bullets, coating the screen that attack in sync with the music. And these are just some of the inspirations, mostly. Most of the elemental aspects come from games like Persona, and there's some musical elements from Everhood, and the top-down shooting aspects from games like Synthetic and Undertale. The aesthetic is going to be very simple and just like easy to read for the most part. And I'll let my partner talk more about the story since he's the writer of this project.
My son good. Christian, do I sound all right?
Yes.
Okay. So the story is pretty wacky, pretty crazy. Basically, a man finds a piano in the woods. That when he plays it, it basically brings things around him to life. And so these things that come to life are the bosses that you fight. And basically, it's got people and you gotta take them down. That's like the basic premise. Some beautiful original artwork there. I'm amazing artist. Not hard. As for the music, the music is the heart of the game. The music plays both into the storytelling as well as the gameplay. So we want to have someone who can capture like different characters, different environments, whether this be through multiple musicians or just one musician helping us out. You'll be working closely with both the programmers and the writers to create an atmosphere that is compelling and plays well with the story.
Yeah, so the music is going to really take center stage. So our goals for this project, we really want to focus on having one really good complex boss fight that really hits home. In order to do that, we're going to have a few mini bosses before that, just to really build up a bit of suspense, get the player comfortable with the controls until they're really ready to take on that big boss. And hopefully we can go even a little bit further with some cutscenes and some story, maybe a secret boss, and add some more bigger boss fights as well. So stretch goals would be two story cutscenes, one at the beginning, one at the end, and maybe even get some dialogue going during the fights. We were thinking about adding some voice acting for the cutscenes as well, and just overall improving the mechanics, adding more bullet types just to make it more a little more complex, and reward the player for shooting on the beat of the music, so it's a little bit more like a rhythm game. Really get you into the groove. Here's some more concept art of how it might look like. And then this is our current progress. Got some basic spinning around, shooting bullets, covering the screen. For this, I was thinking of having some flower petals looking nice. Of course, this is just programmer art. So as you can see at the end there, there's going to be regular shots and also charge shots, just to add a little more complexity because I was getting bored with just the normal shots. And this is what it might look like with some a little more animation, a little more flair to it. Oh. So we're looking for some musicians to really take center stage, since this is a musical game after all. Maybe a sound designer for some better sound effects. The ones we're using right now are just decent. One more artist to help out our lead artist, to pass on some of the work. And hopefully one programmer to help me out since I'm the only one right now. We are using GameMaker, which is free right now. So you can download it and I can show you the ropes if you don't know how to use GameMaker right now. I can help you out with that. And of course, any good game needs some playtesters. So you can go ahead and join our Discord, which I will post in the chat.
So anyone is welcome to join, just to see progress of the game, as well as possibly playtest in the future. And if you're interested in joining and helping out, message about either of us with what you would like to do, as well as kind of a pseudo portfolio of what you've done in the past. Whether that be if you want to do artwork, whether that be simple sketches, or for music, whether that be simple sound bites, just stuff that we can get a feel of what you'll be able to bring to the team and how we can utilize our abilities for our best abilities.
All right, thank you so much. So
Thank you.
people we're gonna have come up right now going to be the team leads for Geograppler.
So this is our game pitch for a game called Geograppler, and it is co-led by Mark Haddad and myself, Kennedy Chanza.
Hello. Okay, so first introductions. Hi, I'm Mark. I'm a first-year CS major from Fremont, California, in the Bay Area. Professional Arab. Take that how you want. I have some hobbies like playing instruments, games, anime, working out, and eating a lot of food in one sitting. I also like all racket sports because I like to whack balls.
All right. And this is me. My name is Kennedy Janto. I'm from Lake Forest, and I'm a second-year computer science major. I am new to game development. This is my first year in this club, and some of my hobbies are playing tennis, watching TV shows, mountain biking, and playing video games. And this is my contact.
So, concept of our game is a 2D platformer that's hopefully level based, and it's somewhat like the generic concept, like with movement and combat. You navigate through terrain, but we'll go more into the details of our unique game.
All right, so here's a quick description of our game. Geograppler is a 2D platform game where your character navigates through several levels of terrain and giant monsters. You are able to use unique grappling gear to soar through the air and slash your way through enemies with your sword. And it might sound similar to a specific anime, and we'll go more into the inspirations. And this is just a quick sketch I did of how it'll look like, but this is a pretty bad drawing.
So some for inspirations, it's mostly like you use your grappling gear. So we thought of games like Hanger, Super Meat Boy, Attack on Titan, which used the ODM grappling gear, and also Vex, which is just like a basic web game using like parkour and stuff like that. But that generic kind of concept or that kind of general idea.
All right, and the theme of the game is an apocalyptic world full of monsters and advanced tech created by humans used to fight against these monsters. So it takes place like in the future, but like everything is destroyed. So like kind of like Fallout, I would say. And yeah, that's the theme.
Yeah, so how we're gonna make it, we're gonna use Unity and VS Code and use GitHub for collaboration. And yeah, that's basically. So hopefully people are somewhat familiar with those things.
And the goals is to create an MVP, and some of the features in these MVP should include running, jumping, and double jumping, swinging with the ODM gears, and combat, like attacking the enemies, and at least one level. And some of our stretch goals would be additional various power-ups, different weapons, a boss enemy, and multiple levels.
So who we're looking for, so first of all, we want an artist. As you could see, we're lacking in that department. And also a musician as well, but more on programming. So at least I am very new to this because this is my first year. I'm not sure about Kennedy, but I'm hoping we can get some people that kind of at least have been here before and can help us around. And because this is at least my first experience with this, and
Yeah, me too.
I'm not even, I don't even have the ropes with this yet. So we're looking for some pretty cool people to that are willing to learn and also pretty knowledgeable at this stuff because we're excited to learn and get our first project going. Yeah.
All right, and that concludes our game pitch. Thank you guys for listening, and here is our contact again if you guys are interested in joining our team.
Yep. Thank you guys.
All right, thank you so much. So, Geograppler, the next one we're going to do is the team lead for United We Stand.
Hi, my name's Miguel. I'm a second-year CS major. I've been a member of this club since last year, and I am a failure. Last summer, I participated in the Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam, which is a 24-hour game jam with a focus on gameplay. The theme was joined together, and I came up with an idea that I thought was pretty good, but the issue is 48 hours is a really short time, and I'm a novice programmer, a novice musician, and I'm not very good at art, so I was actually too slow to provide a submission for the jam. But I still have that game idea, so if I couldn't make the game in 2 days by myself, how about a team of you guys over the course of a semester? Hold on. United We Stand is a top-down shooter with eight-directional movement and omnidirectional shooting. You play as a mage in a fantasy world, fighting warriors, archers, mages, etc. And sometimes when you defeat an enemy, you can talk to them and they'll start fighting alongside you instead. The more allies you have, the more powerful the player's attack and defense becomes, and whenever the player wishes to, they can teleport to the lair of the Dark Lord to challenge them to a battle. And if you and your allies manage to defeat this Dark Lord, you win the game. I also want to have visual novel-like conversations to happen every time you recruit like a new ally. To help you get a bit of a mental image of my game idea, here are a couple of the inspirations I've drawn from. First, for top-down shooting, Enter the Gungeon and Realm of the Mad God Exalt are two top-down shooters which I played where you get a bird's eye view of your character while you shoot bullets at enemies while trying not to get hit by theirs. Around the time of the game jam, I was actually trying out Realm of the Mad God. It's okay, but games like this are games that I enjoy a lot. Recruiting enemies. When I heard this game jam theme of join together, I thought about like emotional connections and stuff, which is how I had this idea of wanting to recruit enemies. Games like the Fire Emblem series or Pokemon Mystery Dungeon also allow you to recruit enemies, and particularly, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon's recruitment system is similar to the system that I want in this game, where sometimes randomly when you defeat an enemy, they'll have a chance to want to join you. To cap it all off, I thought of making the game's win condition similar to that of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. While there are plenty of other objectives around Ruined Hyrule for Link to explore, he can choose like at any time to go straight to Hyrule Castle and fight Calamity Ganon. Most people, myself included, will do other things before challenging the final boss, and doing those things will make the final boss much easier. But speedrunners actually run straight towards Hyrule Castle and as soon as they can, and they defeat Ganon at his full power using literally just whatever scraps of material they can pick up on the way. And for visual novel elements, one last source of inspiration I had is Helltaker. Gameplay-wise, Helltaker is a simple puzzle game, but it's carried by its aesthetics and its visual novel elements where the player character convinces demon girls to join his harem. I wanted to implement something similar, so like whenever you defeat an enemy and recruit to your side, you talk to them and try to convince them to join you. To go with the casual, friendly difficulty system where you choose how hard the game is for yourself, I wanted to make the aesthetics lighthearted and casual as well. Here's a bit of a short summary. You're a Unity mage who wants to stop the Dark Lord from conquering the land and banning people from ever making friends. Unity mages literally use the power of friendship, so you have to travel the land and find some allies among the overly aggressive populace in order to help you become more powerful. As for character designs, since a lot of the media that I consume has them, I was thinking of making like almost all the characters hot anime girls or hot anime guys. Heck, guys, gals, guys, non-binary pals. It's anything works. Whatever you guys want to draw for the artists. As for the kinds of people that I'll need to work on this project, pretty much anyone I could use. I am a programmer and a musician myself, but I'm new to this whole leading a project thing, so anyone with any skills of any skill level is welcome to join. I did not put a minimum viable product or stretch goals in my presentation, but I can go over that later in the chat afterwards. And as for the game engine, I'd like to use Godot. I have limited experience in both Unity and Godot, and for 2D games, I'm of the opinion that Godot is much better for 2D games, not to mention a little bit more beginner-friendly than Unity, especially since it uses Python rather than C# as its programming language. There's a lot of things in Unity that are the same or similar in Godot, so I think that the experience that you have working in one will carry over to the other for the most part as well. Of course, if everyone else on the team overwhelmingly prefers Unity, I'm down for that as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Next one, we have the team lead for We Play Tanks, Remastered.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Garcia. I'm a secretary of the Game Development Club. This is my second year at the club, and this is the second game that I will be leading. So I'm going to be pitching the game that will bring back my childhood happiness. Essentially, in the next 5 seconds, type out in chat what you think humanity's top achievements are. All right, let's see what we got. All right. Some of you might say something like the moon landing. Others may say something like the light bulb, and some may say the wheel. But personally, for me, everyone forgets that Nintendo also made a We Play Tanks minigame on the Nintendo Wii. Now, why this game specifically? It's insanely nostalgic, and I just have really good memories playing it. Also, my mom gave away my Wii to my little cousins, and Nintendo won't remake it, so it's up to me now. So here's some games that inspired me to kind of like what I want to do when updating this game. Something like Super Hot. The original Wii Tanks game was a bit like slower, and you have to be more strategic. So kind of similar to how Super Hot works with its slow shooting and how you pace yourself. Enter the Gungeon. I want to take the controls, specifically the top-down mechanics and the mouse and keyboard input, and then apply it to this game. And of course, we have the We Play Tanks game, which I just want to recreate. So some of my goals for my minimum viable product. Okay. Have a top-down shooting mechanic that uses a mouse. Obviously, we can't use the Wii pointer or the Wii remote. As I said earlier, that slower strategic feel. I want the bullets or like the whatever you're shooting to be like that slower kind, not like the faster kind that we see in more modern games like Enter the Gungeon. I also still want to keep the variety of tanks that each have their own properties. I know there's some that like put down mines, some fire rockets at you. I want to have the different levels. I also want to have keep the 3D toy-like look with it. And then I also want to have a functioning level select. And then if possible, we'll ask Sakurai to put it as the last DLC fighter. Then this is like if we have time. Here's some like more stretch goals. Add a score counter, kind of keep whether like how many enemies you kill or how many levels you get past. New enemy types. Yeah, just some new enemy types. I'll be going over the types of enemies later on. Maybe some power-ups. Maybe future levels can have different types of power-ups. and then maybe local co-op if we get what we want done early. My idea is that we can get all the systems working at the beginning, somewhere around the beginning or the middle. So then at that point we can just recreate levels as super easily. And then so for what I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using Unity as my game engine. And then I'm also going to be using Blender for any 3D modeling stuff. However, if you have another type of 3D modeling software that you prefer, that would be great to use also. Just FYI, I googled Blender and forgot to put logo, and I put the first image in. And then for a team, just anyone who is willing to join this game, anyone who wants to see what the hype is about or wants to relive this memory, it should be pretty beginner friendly, and I'll be providing a lot of tutorial videos in order to help, especially those who are new to the club. Yeah, everyone is welcome to join. And thanks for listening to my presentation.
All right. Thank you so much, Larry. The next one we're going to go through right now is the team lead for Breath of the NES.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jordan, and I'll keep this quick because I've hardly prepared for this, but so in 2017, Breath of the Wild came out, and in a presentation called GDC 2017, Nintendo showed off a prototype they made for it in an NES style. This was essentially their proof of concept for Breath of the Wild. And they wanted to try to recreate it in a game that they were already familiar with, that they already made, so they decided to pick Zelda 1. Now, one person by the name of Winter Drake on Itch, or MicroPig Gaming on YouTube, came up with this fan game of Zelda called Breath of the NES that tried to make this prototype into its own game. And you could see some footage of it here. Unfortunately, Nintendo being Nintendo, they ended up taking it down in a DMCA claim. So only the V0.3 demo is available, but development has ceased since. Now, I'd like to see if we could recreate this sort of thing, because I think the idea has a lot of potential. And I already started on a little project here in Godot, and I can demonstrate what I have. It's very little, but essentially I'd like to recreate what we saw, where you can cut down trees and get like materials and items, and have it kind of be a little bit more open world. And additionally, since I think this idea has a lot of potential, I would like to see if we could potentially, if we have time, we could give it an identity of its own. So, like, we can add its own gameplay gimmicks, like a few genres I think mesh well with the style of gameplay would be something like a Metroidvania, bullet hell. There was another one I wrote in my game pitch Google form that I forgot, but I do think we could add more to it. We could change some stuff, oh yeah, it was something like a survival game, kind of like Minecraft, for example. So we could just kind of shuffle things around, give it our own identity, and in terms of what exactly we're going to be using, I do have this sample, like this start, I guess, to something Zelda-like in Godot. So that'd be cool. If you guys want to do something else, use a different engine, I'm open to other ideas too. And in terms of who I'm looking for, honestly, just if you're interested and you want to bring anything to the table, even just ideas, for example, feel free to join in. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope you all have a good day.
All right. Thanks so much, Jordan. Next up, we're gonna have the
Oh
team.
yeah, I got this.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Sorry,
All
I'm
right.
bad at Discord.
No worries.
Yo, so my name is Daniel Passion, and yeah, and then the game I wanted to do is called Project GM. So this is basically my thought making. So I said, have you ever been partaking in a chess match and thought, wow, this would be a really good platformer, but I really want to implement a tad bit of mechanics from a fighting game. Has anyone ever thought of that idea before? Okay, but if you have, that's just basically my game. So it's like a platformer, kind of like Mario and Sonic, but the main character is just like a chess piece. And then they're gonna be fighting like other enemies, which are like kind of board game style. Like it'll be like Monopoly themed enemies. But the difference, like what separates my game from all the rest, is that the boss at the end of every level is gonna be fought like in the form of like a Street Fighter style game, kind of like Mortal Kombat and Smash. And yeah, throughout the game you could like upgrade like your piece from like a pawn to a rook and become like stronger. Okay, for the artwork, I'm not gonna lie. I like suck at art. I know my girlfriend used to teach me art, but ever since she broke up with me, like I have no idea what to do anymore. So if you're an artist, like literally you have total freedom with this game because I just don't know what to do. So basically, our inspiration is just take any type of platformer and any fighting game. If those two games had like a baby, that is exactly my game. Oh, I forgot I put this. So yeah, like it's just gonna be like really simple and fun. Like the backstory is literally gonna be like some guy telling another guy, "Yo, drink this cup." And then if they drink the cup, then the game's gonna start. But if they don't, then yeah, the game will just end. It's like really laid back. So does anyone have any questions? Oh, wait, we're not doing questions. Okay, that's it.
All right, thank you so much. I just want to say the pitch visuals are really, really good.
Oh yeah, that's why I need an artist. Like I suck at art. Also musicians too. I need that too.
All right. The next one we're going to go for is the team lead for Catvalon, the Cats of the Round Table.
So welcome everybody. My name's Tony. I'm the vice president of the game development
Some
club.
different presentation is the best presentation.
So this game is gonna be called Catvalon and the Cats of the Round Table. Pretty much, it's Final Fantasy, but with cats. That's pretty much it. It's a classic RPG with cats, similar to Final Fantasy or Earthbound. It's gonna be turn-based strategy with strengths and weaknesses, such as the class system from Fate Go. If any of you have played that, it's a game where basically sabers are strong against lancers, lancers are strong against archers, and archers are strong against sabers. And then they're all going to be cat puns, like the Catvalry or the Berserker. I just think that's really funny, and I love puns. It's going to be pixel art style. This is the cat I drew. These are going to be our main character. This is Skippy. He's got a little sword, his little backpack, and a nice little neckerchief. He's going to be going on an adventure to save the system, or what? The system, not space. He's going to be saving the kingdom. So that's going to be our main story. And so, what do I need from you? I need programmers to pretty much be implementing the assets from our musicians and artists, create a movement system, to create a turn based battle system, as well as an enemy AI and a stat system such as attack, defense, XP, stuff like that. For artists, I'm going to be needing a lot more cat designs. Obviously, we can't just have one, we need a whole bunch of them. We need NPCs, tile maps for the locations, animations, and then as well as creating our UIs and titles, just the looks of them. And our programmers will implement them. And then musicians as well. I just need to create music for the different areas and menus as well as the battle theme, which I think would be fun. And I forgot to include these, but I need a writer for the story, and I need a resident cat advisor, someone who's really well versed on cats so they can advise us on which cats to make and how cats would look. And we got to keep it in the language of cats, as Larry just said. Yeah, that's my pitch. Catvalon.
Another great pitch, Tony. All right, thank you so much. Okay, we're actually at our very last one. It's going to be Umbrella Weather.
Hello, my name's Minh. I'm a freshman for CS. It's also my first year in the game dev club. And my game pitch is called Umbrella Weather. All right, this is a pretty long description, but basically, Umbrella Weather is a 2D platformer where the player has bought some groceries, but they cannot get it wet, basically, and they'll be maneuvering around and traversing the city with their umbrellas. And some of the main inspirations are Celeste, A Hat in Time, Babylon Theater, Hollow Knight, Super Mario, and Ori. The main juice of the game is basically the platforming aspects. The goal of the game is basically from getting to point A to point B in a series of levels, and these are the core ideas of the gameplay mechanics that I'll talk about. Basically, the goal of the level is getting from point A to point B. Basic movement includes some just walking and jumping. All right, and then here's where the juice comes in. So one of the core ideas is the wet meter. The the bullet points here are just an idea of what they can do. But basically, the idea is if the player is in the rain or they'll accumulate wetness, or if they land in a puddle of water, they'll reach 100% wetness, and that will be basically how they restart the level or lose on the level. And some of the inspirations is from DST, Don't Starve Together, and the Genshin Impact Sheer Cold accumulation. And here's the concept illustration. And so basically, it's like landing in spikes. If you land in it, you'll just restart. You restart on a certain point on solid ground or the beginning of the level. And you've got really big fans. And so I'll go through this quickly. It provides an air current, and this is useful for the umbrella. These are, again, ideas of what it could do. It's not official, but basically with the umbrella you can do a lot of stuff. You can glide, you can zoom up the fan, and you can block the rain. And so the overall idea is to encourage the force the player to be considerate of their umbrella usage and taking specific pathways to reach to the end of the level. And one additional gameplay mechanic is the sad people. And basically, it'll be kind of like the strawberry from Celeste. It's optional, and it'll just make the level more difficult if you were to want to take this optional challenge, and it'll be basically placed on the level to make it more harder. And you see there, the red circle is where the sad person is placed. Okay. And so the art direction is I'm not an artist, but I kind of imagine it's like a simplistic design with an urban city feel with blue colors, and so we can kind of be like the blue cool colors from Hollow Knight combined with the like urban city feel from like that one parade section from A Hat in Time. And the character and story is not the main focus, but I did put the foundation for it, and the main character basically lives alone, and they prefer homemade cooking over like food delivery and fast food. And the character design, I'm not an artist again, but the idea of the character kind of looks like this on the right, and you can see what the character design is kind of inspired by. All right, project goals for this, probably like 5 playable levels with the 4 core gameplay mechanics mentioned. Anyone's welcome to join. I am really new to this, so we'll be learning together. I do have some experience with Unity, but doesn't have to be Unity. Some stretch goals, basically more additional mechanics, so more stuff to the umbrella, or more level obstacles like the fan or water puddles or the rain. A reward screen at the end is kind of like something like from Battle Block Theater. You'll get like medals or stars for like passing the level or giving umbrellas to the sad people, and lore is a reward. Obviously not like a big giant text, but you get the idea. All right, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And with that, that's actually the last of our game pitches. So thank you for the whopping 10 game pitches. That's the most I think we've ever had as this club. That's super exciting. For those of you on who are still here, I have already added the React bot over in the Get Your Roles channel. So if you look, that's all of the teams. If you react to them, it should add your add you to that team. Note that you can only be a part of one team at a time. Usually we only allow members to be working on one team at a time, but if there's a game that you also want to work on, we recommend having a team that you're specifically dedicated to, like you're going to put a majority of your work into that game. And if you want to contribute like a little bit, like maybe an asset or two to another game, you guys are also welcome to do that. But again, take into account like the team that you're already committed to, also, you know, all of your other work, like work, school, and things like that. So yeah, that again is the end of this meeting. So sorry to go over 14 minutes, but I thank you to everyone who is still here. Just as a quick rundown of all of the games, Team 1 is the zombie containment game with Jonah. It's a continuation of the game pitch from last semester. It's basically a first-person shooter. Go through some generated prison maps. Team 2 is going to be led by me, the president, Sam here. It's going to be a dating sim that hopefully isn't as generic. We'll go more into details. I actually looked at the suggestions in the chat, and I actually think planets is a really cute idea. We might stick to that one, but I want the opinion of the team. Next up, we have musical elements, which is the bullet hell where the enemies are timed to music. That one's super cool. Oh, I just realized I misspelled it. Well, I can't change it now, but musical elements. Next one is Geograppler, basically Attack on Titan, but if it was Mario. That's a 2D platformer where you basically get to grapple around the map. We have United We Stand, which is led by, which is led by, I'm so sorry, which is led by Miguel, which is sort of the idea that he had from the Game Maker Studio game jam. We also have We Play Tanks Remastered, which is Larry's envisioned of We Play Tanks, a very famous game from the Nintendo Wii. We have Jordan's Breath of the NES, which is a NES recreation of Breath of the Wild, but non-DMCA version. We also have Project DM, led by Daniel, which is a 2D platformer where you basically get to play as a chess piece, and you also get to fight people in a fighting game-based style. Then we also have Catvalon, led by Tony, which is going to be a turn-based RPG game. And finally, we have Umbrella Weather, which is the game that was just mentioned, which is a platformer similar to Hollow Knight and Celeste, where you get to make sure you're not wet and use an umbrella. But other than that, if you guys go ahead and react to the roles, you guys will get the roles for the team, and then you guys should then have access to the different team chats that we have. We have a lot of them. So if you guys don't have any questions about the club in general, if you guys have questions for your team leads about the games, go ahead and ask them in the team builder chat or in the questions chat, or DM them, anything like that. Go ahead and ask them there. But other than that, this meeting is basically done. So sorry to go over. Any other announcements that we had to make really fast will be mentioned in the announcements. Thank you again for attending this meeting. So sorry for being so long.